So, how do you handle a road rager spiritually? Hey guys, it's John. I'm driving back from the Home Depot and back to my house, and I had an interesting experience driving to the store. I passed a guy on a 3-lane highway, no reason, wasn't even in his lane, passed the guy, and suddenly out of the blue, I hear someone yelling, and I look to my right, and he's got his window rolled down, and he's screaming at me out the window as hard and as loud as he possibly could. All I really heard was profanity aimed at me. I had done nothing to affront him. I had done nothing to him. I wasn't even in his lane. I'm assuming he thought I was going too fast, but I was literally going the speed limit. When I heard the yelling and screaming, I looked to my right and I saw him, and I saw the anger and the just sheer rage in his face as he screamed obscenities at me. Now, what's interesting about that is, like, once again, I knew that I had done nothing wrong, and I knew that I was in no situation where I had in any way, shape, or form endangered him. But he had chosen to believe that I had in some form. And when I looked over and I saw him screaming, all I could see was his own fear of being less powerful. He must have thought that I disrespected him in some way. But what is disrespect? Disrespect is the fear of not being loved. He's defending the fact that he deserves better, that he deserves the power of being respected, and that I somehow disrespected him. Well, disrespect is 100% the fear of not being loved. And when you look at it from that perspective, this person who's screaming out the window in such a horrible state is obviously in an extreme amount of fear. He's trying to make himself feel better by being mad that somebody might have disrespected him, even though I never did. I never disrespected him. I never, in any way, shape, or form, did anything against him in any way. So the point of this conversation, that I thought this would be a perfect conversation to put on the channel, because in that situation, we can be in reaction mode and get mad at him and start screaming back and escalate the situation. But that's exactly it. If we live in reaction to what they're doing, we're only escalating and enhancing what they're doing. But in reality, the fear and rage that he was in was his, not mine.
And now, a quick word from our sponsor. Coffee Time with John. This channel runs off coffee, so get your coffee and tea at johnsjoe.com.
I often talk to people who are very highly empathic, and I always tell them to remember the phrase, that's theirs, not mine. And when you keep yourself in the state of understanding that rage is his, not mine. And then when you also remember that all negative emotion are rooted in fear in some form. And most fears can be brought down to the fear of not being loved in some form. And so I wasn't in any way, shape, or form affected by his screaming, hollering, and yelling, with the exception of feeling sorry for him. Why is he in such a state that he has to be stressed out and screaming and yelling, or perceiving something done against him when nothing was? Because that is his mental state. That is his state of being. He is choosing to be fearful and offended and in a state of needing to feel powerful on the road. And in reality, he had just a whole bunch of fear bubbling out of him, and it showed. So the best way to spiritually handle a road rage situation like that is to not be part of it. Understand it's their fear, not yours. It's their chosen belief or interpretation of events that more than likely have nothing to do with you. They usually are that way because their life has made them feel that way, and they're struggling with feeling powerful because they don't. And so feel sorry for them when they're screaming and hollering, yelling. Just recognize that that's their fear. But if you respond to it and lean into what they're doing and saying, you are literally only escalating their fear, their anxiety, and their stresses. You're making it actually worse. So the most spiritual thing you can do in that situation is ignore them. And it sounds terrible to say that, but if you smile at them, they're going to read it a certain way. They're going to read it as smug. If you say, no, it's okay, or even if you apologize, they're not going to hear it. They're going to call you an idiot and they're going to keep going. The best thing you can do is say, that's theirs, not mine, and ignore what they're doing. Because once you release it in that way, what happens is they can go on, and now they're going to be mad about it for a while. But because it was not escalated, it was not prolonged. And so by keeping yourself in the state of, I feel sorry for them, that they have so much fear and anxiety and stress in their life that they have to lash out like that. But the best way to help them is to not to escalate them, to be in the state of, that's theirs, not mine, and they'll deal with that, right? But if you escalate it, it's only going to make their day worse. It's only going to make their day harder. If you, any action you give towards them when they're in that mental state of fear, which is a fog state, they can't see past the fog. So no matter what you do, is going to be read as if it was an offense against them. So it's better for you to just say, that's theirs, not mine, and then move on with your day, because it's the only way that they can get past it quicker, because they're not going to get past it quicker if you engage with them in any way. So ignore and move on, which is what I did this morning. I just ignored, I moved on. And he got off at the next exit, and I never saw him again, and it hasn't been an issue one. So that's my thought on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.